Okay, well, about 20 minutes ago, I was about 8, 9 minutes into a live recording, and all of a sudden my internet connection says check the network because you have a low signal bar or something stupid like that. I go and check it, and it says you have excellent connection service. All right. I got 4 full bars, and for some reason, it would not allow me to stream and to do a live recording. Oh, but you can record. So then I went to my other phone, pulled up Facebook, tried to go live, and then all of a sudden, the part that's when you scroll down, when you go to say when you get ready to record something, when I scroll down, the go live portion is not there. All right. It's not there. Now, I have used that same phone earlier today, and it was there. But for some reason tonight, it's not there. So you already know somebody's messing. That's why I said I'm systematically being barred from doing the live recordings that I've been trying to do because of the importance of the information, and maybe they're afraid I'm going to reveal too much or whatever. I don't know. All right. But it's very irritating that, I've gone through that. So this is the plan, friends. All right, friends, brothers and sisters, Moors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to probably go ahead and record about 45 minutes tonight and pick up tomorrow. Hopefully everything, because I'm going to do it live tomorrow from YouTube. All right. Instead of from Facebook, because I did set up an account today and they said within 24 hours, you should be able to go live. Okay. So I'm going to try to do it from there and not Facebook so they don't interfere with me like they normally do, the little bastards. Anyway, let's begin. So earlier today, I talked about, being prepared for the stewardship that we are being entrusted with. All right. And what does that really look like? How can we prepare ourselves for that? Well, number one, you're either an adult. That's probably not the right term. You're either mature and responsible as a man or woman already, or you're going to have to very quickly learn to be. All right. I gave you an example of someone who had taken a vehicle into trust, thought that they formed a trust relationship with the person who was conveying the property into trust, but without an accurate knowledge and understanding of trust law and how trusts work. This person who claimed to be a trustee was a very good example of what not to do when you haven't studied and prepared, okay, for that responsibility of stewardship over trust property. Now, that particular individual ended up being charged with, grand theft auto because it appeared on the surface that the vehicle had been stolen. The person who conveyed it was in the hospital incapacitated. A family member discovered that the vehicle was not at home where it should have been. And next thing you know, someone had reported the vehicle was stolen. They pick up this brother. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This vehicle's in trust, blah, blah, blah. But no paperwork, no documentation into the trust. No notice had been done to the Department of Motor Vehicles. None of the legal stuff had been done at all to remove it out of their jurisdiction. Okay. So that was a clear case of you're not competent to be a trustee. All right. And the upside to the story, the good part of the story is that, the brother did not have to stand for charges of grand theft auto because we had the case dismissed. All right. By providing proper documentation, affidavits, his status, even though he wasn't declared Moor at that point. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And yes, he was. So I take that back. So we put in enough that they realized they didn't have jurisdiction and they dropped the case. All right. Now, I mention all that to say this. What we're being entrusted with is so much more important than a vehicle. You're being entrusted with the real estate, the land, and everything on the land that the European colonizers have built on it. That's all eventually going to be turned over to us and to our private trust. Okay. And even if they continue to operate on our land with their buildings and so forth, they're going to have to pay us ground rents. Okay. Because you've got things on my land. So you need to pay me for being on my land. You're not paying the crown any more taxes. So you're going to have to pay the landlord, which happens to be me or you as a Moor that's declared and who has a allodial title to the land. Wow. Do y'all get what that means? Wow. Okay. Can you see that vision yet? If you don't, let me clarify it for you. Let's say you are in, I don't know, Wiccan County, and that happens to be in Georgia. I just made that up. Okay. Let's use an actual one. Let's say you're in Fulton County, Georgia. Okay. Fulton County encompasses almost all of downtown Atlanta, as an example. Fulton County, and you want to claim the land that is Fulton County, that they claim to have jurisdiction over. All right. So let's say you put in a allodial title for the entire county. I'm not recommending you do that until you are very, very proficient in real estate management. You've got a trust team. You've got a lot of things in place. All right. You don't have to have everything perfect because you're going to be allowed to make mistakes. All right. And whatever mistakes you make, you can fix them because you're the allodial title holder and owner of the land. So you'll be able to fix whatever mistakes you make. However, just from a nightmare headache standpoint, maybe you want to not rush out there, jump into deep water with weights on so you can sink to the bottom and then try to pull yourself up from that. That's not a great idea. I don't recommend that at all. All right. What I am saying is you might want to get some things in order so that you can logically think about how you want to move, not take off too much at one time, not take on too much at one time. So let's say you take a portion of Fulton County as an example, and that maybe only includes maybe a square mile, 2 square miles. And within that 2 square miles, you've got 150 properties, which includes corporations, business owners, and a few residences. Okay. If that's the case, so when you claim that land, you're going to notify all of the government agencies, the county and all the rest of them. First of all, you're going to lien them. You're going to create your allodial title for it. You're going to lien the hell out of that county. So anyone who wants to come against you, all right, is going against their own interests because they got to overcome the lien before they can charge you with a damn thing. All right. Secondly, after you've created that allodial title to the land, guess what? All of those business owners within your 2 square miles, I'm just helping you to get a visual. Understand this. All of those so-called business owners are on your land, on your property. They need to be notified that the county and the state does no longer holds title to the land. You have a allodial title. They had a corporate title, which was really a deed, which was a grant for them to pretend like they were the owners, while the owner, the real true owners, which is the heirs to the estate, were absent and had not claimed the property. Understand this, my brothers and sisters. The only reason the real estate agencies out here are supposedly selling properties out here is because they're unclaimed by the heirs of the estate. They're considered abandoned properties. So as long as they're abandoned, whoever picks it up, which in all cases, the state picks them up, and then by way of the county, they act as if they're the feudal landlord, the owner of everything. Why? Because the heirs of the estate have not showed up and claimed it. Once you do, through your trust, because you're not going to do that as an individual, you're going to do that through your republic government, your tribal government, and through your private trust, okay, which should be recorded in your republic government, at your republic government, vital records, okay, et cetera, et cetera. Is that going to look the same for everybody? Yeah, I don't know. All right, because I don't know how everyone is set up in terms of tribal governments and things like that. But as far as we're concerned with the consulate, you've got the Moorish American Republic National Government, which is a place where you can record your allodial titles, where you can record your claims to the land, where you can record your divine trust, your ecclesiastical trust, to which you're going to convey properties to, including your allodial title. All right, you're going to convey that into your private trust. So that means, going back to the 2 square miles that you have now claimed, that basically means the business owners that happen to be within on your land, okay, will need to be notified. So you may put forth orders to the county tax assessor's office, who used to deal with them all the time because they were presuming that they had the authority, while it was unclaimed, to collect taxes and rent from the people, okay, which is taxes. Now that that's private exempt land because it's allodially owned, and we as Moors do not pay taxes, that doesn't mean that we can't collect them in some other form, say ground rents or some other, label that you want to put to it, or you may want to just call it taxes. All right. There's nothing wrong with taxes as long as you're not the one paying them. But as the owner of the land, you have the right to collect taxes. Now, you can contract with the county tax assessor's office, but they need a compelling reason to continue to collect those taxes on your private land. I hope you understood that. All right. So the contract that you might want to set up with them, maybe it's 30-70, maybe it's 60-40. Whatever the split is, they have to have a compelling reason to continue to collect those taxes on your behalf. Because if you're keeping 100%, they don't have a reason to want to do it. All right. So let's be honest. Let's be fair. This is business. So in business, you want to create win-win-win propositions. A win for them, a win for you, and a win for the one that you're collecting from. 3 wins. Everybody wins. What's the advantage to the business owner on your 2 square miles, as an example? The advantage to the business owner is, one, he doesn't have to pay the same rate of taxes that he used to with the government, the so-called county municipality. So one of the things you might want to immediately do is, let's say the tax rate was 2 or 3%, and for that 2 square miles, you had revenue being generated in the form of taxes in the amount of, say, $100,000 a month that they were collecting for everyone within that 2 square miles from the businesses. Well, instead of them paying $100,000 a month, maybe you could reduce that to, say, $75,000 a month. So immediately the business owner sees a savings of 25%. So he's going to be happy he's gotten rid of the tax assessor's office. I just saved 25% that I'm not paying out of my pocket. That's a profit for him to his bottom line. Okay. Does it mean you're going to receive less income? Yeah. Is that a win-win? Yeah. Okay. It really still is. Okay. What's some of the other advantages? Okay. The red tape is cut in half. All right. Because now they got to deal with, instead of the county tax assessor's office and all the local ordinances and codes and all that stuff, they got to deal with you. So if you want to grant them permission to build something new on their land, they don't have to go through all the red tape that they used to go through. Why? Because it's on your land. And who's the Lord of your land? You are. Your trust is through your trust. All right. So you're going to have some smart people managing the affairs of your trust and your estate. Now, do you understand why I said it's probably a good idea for you to sit down, meditate, and think through a lot of different things and not rush out into the deep waters and try to take on, well, I want the whole state of so-and-so. You can't manage that. You're not ready. Most of us are not ready to try to manage the whole freaking state. All right. So take out a small bit and get your feet wet. OK, get it up to your knees, get it up to your hips, but don't go out there and drown yourself. Don't take on so much that you get lost and you die of stress, okay? Because you took on too much. That's not a good idea. That's all I'm saying. It's not a good idea, all right? I'm not trying to limit anyone. If you feel you're capable and you're ready, willing, and able to do to your heart's content. Because I can't tell no one else what to do. I can only tell Phoenix what to do. And I can only advise Phoenix what's going to be good for him and what's not going to be good for him. All right. What you do with your land, your property that you're king of is your business. All right. Phoenix ain't going to interfere. All right. And try to dictate terms and so forth to you. I'm not doing that at all. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just making a note and a record that we want to move cautiously, but yet we want to move fearlessly at the same time. We want to move deliberately. We want to move purposefully, okay? With a plan, with a strategy, with goals in mind, okay? So once I do that, I'm going to go from 2 square miles to 20 square miles. Do you know how much property is inside of 20 square miles? All right. One that I'm looking at right now, I think it's a little bit less than 20 square miles. But I can tell you there's several 100,000 buildings in that 20 square miles. There's probably 250,000 buildings and residences in that 22 square miles that I'm looking at. All right. But I have a game plan that I'm working. I've already penciled it out. Okay. That's for a private discussion, private consultation if you are interested. By the way, I'm going to mention again, I'm sharing all of this with you all in hopes that I can manifest what I'm trying to manifest right now, which if you've looked at some of my videos that I just posted, I'm looking to raise $1,000 over the next 2 days to take care of my rents so that I can continue to not be homeless by Friday. Okay. So hit the donation button or go to melaninaudio@gmail.com. Drop a donation, $20 to $50. That's all I'm looking for. All right. I'm not trying to gouge people, but I do need your help. So if you can donate and spare $20, please send it to me. melaninaudio@gmail.com. Melanin is just like the melanin that your skin is. Melanin audio, AUDIO, melaninaudio@gmail.com. I basically only need 50 of you mores, okay? 50 to send me $20, okay? And I can continue to put things like this out to you, okay? And I can make myself available to assist you, to answer some questions. But if I'm homeless on the streets, well, I won't be able to help hardly anybody, So I'm just saying, if your heart moves you and you value the information that I've already put out on Facebook under the birth certificate versus nationality, please drop a donation. Please drop a donation. I'm going to be going live again all day tomorrow, many times throughout the day. I'll probably do 15, 20-minute live calls throughout the day tomorrow because I'm basically going to do a marathon until I raise those funds, okay? If the Spirit allows me to do that, I'm going to do that, okay? As much as I can all day tomorrow. All right, so enough on that topic. Let's continue. I was telling you that the responsibility that we are taking on, that we're going to be taking on, this is a visual for you to understand what's at stake, what is coming beyond you declaring your nationality. What does the future hold for you? The very near future. When I say very near, that could be 6 months to a year. It could be less, depending on how ready and prepared you are to take the next step, to move to the next level. Okay? If you're not ready, then take your time and be ready. Prepare. All right? Prepare yourself because it's better to do the preparation so that you can execute flawlessly. All right? And I'll give you an example of that. I like to use visuals. So let me give you a visual. You got a young man that goes up to the tree to get ready to chop it down. And he sits there, and you've heard this before, and he goes whack, 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 whack at that tree. And he's whack, 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 whack. And 2 hours later, okay, he's still only halfway through because it's a big tree. Meanwhile, the old man has been sitting there for 40 minutes sharpening his axe. What was he doing that the young man didn't do? He was preparing so that he could execute flawlessly. So when he started, it only took him 20 minutes and he was done. And he finished at the same time that young man with all that strength and energy and all that eagerness and all that strength and everything, bam, 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 with his axe that was not sharpened because he wasn't prepared, using brute strength, okay, to accomplish his goal. That's how we run into a lot of different things. I'm just sharing wisdom and experience from not only things that I've done in my past, but you've probably done the same thing. So I'm not sharing something that you don't know. I'm only reminding you of what you already know. Okay. So we want to use that same principle when it comes to how we're going to manage our affairs, how we're going to manage our trust. What do you know about managing a trust? What have you studied about managing the trust? You know, the Moorish American Council put out on the website Weiss's concise guidebook for trust and administration. I forgot the exact title, but they gave us that. Did you read it yet? Now, I studied that before. Okay, long before I ever got associated with the Moorish American Consulate as a commissioned counsel. So I spent 2 years basically studying trust with other agency organizations and teachers, mentors out there. Some very good ones, in fact. Okay. And I'm not ashamed to admit Yusuf El was one of them. And where did he get his information from? Gwen Wyckoff and Frank Ozark and Gwen Wyckoff. They wrote a book called The Art of Passing Bucks, volumes 1 and 2. I highly recommend you get those 2 books as part of your tools. No different than Black's Law Dictionary. If you're going to operate a trust, and if you're going to have a trust, whether you operate it or not, you should understand how a trust is supposed to work. So if someone is incompetent and screwing it up and messing up your trust, you can call them to account because you understand the foundation principles. If you don't, that's just like the NBA players, the NFL players, and all the rest of them who basically go out here and they make $100 million and 5 years later, 10 years after they retire, they're flat ass broke. Why? Because someone else was managing their affairs and they weren't paying attention. Are you going to be the same way? Are you going to repeat their same errors? Okay. In terms of the vast estate that's been entrusted to you, and you're going to let someone else run it because you don't know how to run a trust and you ain't taking the time to study enough to even understand it, to even try to understand it. Look, this right here and all of this, okay, that melanin, okay, and this gray hair, all right, all of that is a signal and an indication. You have the capacity, you have the ability within you to learn what you need to learn. It doesn't matter what it is. If you decide tomorrow, I want to learn some rocket scientists, damn it, you can learn some rocket science stuff. If you want to learn astrophysics, you can do that. All right. All you do is make a decision. I'm going to learn this. That's all you do. You make the decision because it's already yours. The information is already there. You need to bring it out. Okay. That's how powerful we are. That is your potential that scares the shit out of these colonizers. That's why they needed to dumb you down. That's why they have literally poisoned your food with toxic stuff. Okay. That's why they GMO'd the food, genetically modified it. Okay. Why? Because they needed to dumb you down. And despite everything they did to exterminate us over the last 150 years, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, health-wise, economically, we still here. We still here. Why? We God's people, that's why. Okay? We're the heirs to the estate. That's why we still here. All right? You know, for those who had a Christian background, the scripture said, ye are gods. Ye are gods. And Jesus quoted from that in the New Testament. He quoted from Psalms chapter 82, where it was written. Okay? He quoted from that when he said that. And who was he talking about? The people, God's people, his children, his sons. That's us. All right. All right. Enough said on that. The point is, prepare to be a good steward. Prepare for management and administration of your estate in every way that you possibly can. Okay? Are you ever going to get everything ready and be prepared for everything? Absolutely not. There are things you can't even think of that you're going to be confronted with. But because of who you are, you will find a way, a path, and a strategy to overcome whatever challenges are put in front of you, whatever obstacles you need to overcome. Okay? Because you're going to have divine assistance from the ancestors. You're going to have the Spirit of the Most High resting upon you because you're moving in righteousness, moving with that from the heart. There is nothing more powerful than the emotion of love. Okay? So when you're doing things out of that sense of love for your brothers and sisters, love for the planet, love for what is right, you have the most important, compelling, emotional, vibrational frequency that the universe responds to the most. And that's what I am sharing with you all. I'm sharing with this information with you from my spirit today. If you don't feel that, if you don't sense that, you may as well just turn off the recording and stop listening. Okay? If you don't sense that and feel that, if you do sense that and feel that, then go ahead and drop a little small donation. Okay? melaninaudio@gmail.com. I have to do that, friends. I have to do that. All right? Because I made myself a promise that I'm going to claim and I'm going to manifest $1,000 in the next 2 days. Okay? So by Thursday, I want to have this done. I want to have this done so I can move on to other things. I don't want to spend time trying to run after some damn firms. I don't care about Federal Reserve notes anymore, except to circulate them. You notice I did not say to spend them. I'm done with that. You heard me in my manifestation video. If you didn't watch it, go out and look at my profile and you'll see that posted up there. It's only 4 minutes long. Okay, short. I'm changing how I speak things into existence, and especially my relationship with money, with what circulates as the form of currency we must use, because it ain't money. But for the time being, I'm going to refer to it as the currency that I need to circulate. And every time I circulate currency, why am I doing it? So that it can go out, do what I needed to do to take care of what I need to take care of, and come back to me expounded, explored, and multiplied for my benefit and enrichment and enjoyment. So you need to take that same principle attitude when you're sending a donation, okay? Or when you're sending a gift of appreciation, a love offering. I'll get away from using donation. That's not even the word that I want to use. Let's just call it a love appreciation gift, okay? When you're doing that, you should be thinking, I'm circulating this so it can come back to me tenfold. What is that called? The law of attraction. It's called the law of seed money. These are esoteric principles all of us should be familiar with. And that's why we shouldn't have a problem investing or assisting one another when there's a need. All right. I'm looking at my future trust and the funds that I'm going to receive to work with, okay, by the projects that I have in mind. And it's going to be to the tune of billions of dollars, okay, or billions of whatever the currency is, notes, okay. And I'm going to circulate the hell out of those things, and I'm going to be very generous with them. All right. Why? Because I want abundance. I live in abundance, and abundance has always been mine. I just didn't know I should have claimed it, that I should have spoken into existence. And now I'm sharing that with you so you can get the proper mindset and do the same thing. All of you. Speak in abundance, because the universe has demonstrated and has been right in your face the whole time. Abundance, there's never been scarcity on this damn planet or this plane of existence. Okay? There's never been scarcity. That was manufactured by the corporations so that we would fight over the scraps, thinking that there was scarcity. All right. So we would be divided, divisive among ourselves. What? He got a Cadillac and I got this little Ford Pinto. Some of y'all don't know what that is. OK, I got this Toyota Tercel. Oh, that's still too old. Y'all don't know what that is. What's a cheap ass car right now? I don't even know, because I so seldom look at them. I can't think of one. But, you know, the Yugo used to be a piece of junk car. The Ford Pinto back in the day in the 70s was a really old piece of junk. OK. And, you know, he's driving a Cadillac and I got a Ford Pinto. I use that as an example. All right. And I'm dating myself. I know. And you're thinking, well, I want what he's got. No, don't want what he's got. You should be saying, oh, wait, there's plenty. There's an abundance out here. But because of the corporate mindset that they indoctrinated us with, you start envying what someone else had instead of wanting for yourself and not because someone else has it. OK, you should have been. We all should have been of the mindset. When I look at nature, nature is teaching me that there is no scarcity. OK, let me prove that point. How many fish are in the ocean? How many trees are on this planet? Despite them being cutting down millions of square miles every year. Millions of acres, I'm sorry. They chop down millions of acres every year. And you know, we ain't run out of trees yet. Have y'all thought about that? How many flowers are on this planet? I ain't talking about what we as humans plant. I'm just talking about just out there in nature. How many species of life is on this planet? You know, whether you know this or not, I'm going to share it with you. Scientists have been discovering as many as 700,000 to 800,000 new species every year for the last 50 years. Yep. That's how many and how much diversity is on this plane of existence. That's how unlimited this plane of existence, the creator, we put here. Okay. So how could you ever believe that there was scarcity? There's no such thing as scarcity of land. There's no such thing as scarcity of resources, of oil, of anything, water. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. That's only in the mind of juridic man who's not watching and learning from nature and natural things on this planet. You look up at the stars through a telescope and you see hundreds of billions of stars. Okay. That's telling you there is no limitation. There's an abundance everywhere. So why would you believe you were limited with scarcity? Hell, if you believe in a flat earth and you look at the, which I do, and I don't say that to start a controversy. I'm just saying it's compelling reason to investigate it. All right. Because when you look at the earth, it's not flat where you're going to fall off the damn thing. So let's not be stupid. All right. Because something flat doesn't have to have edges like that. All right. And I'll give you an example. You take a pizza in a box. It's round. It's circular. It's round. You put a dome on top. You got a globe. All right. On top of that pizza. And where's that pizza sitting? Inside of a square ass box. Okay. But it's got a ring all the way around it. That ring happens to correspond directly with what they call the South Pole. In my humble opinion, from everything I've researched and studied. Okay. Y'all can dispute me all you want. I don't give a damn what you think. Okay. Don't really care to debate it with anybody. I've done my own research. Those are my conclusions. All right. You do yours. You come to yours. And one of these days when we're in person, maybe we'll have an intellectual conversation versus you trying to convince me of something else. All right. But until you get to that point, I don't want to hear from you about it. All right. I just shared with you my humble opinion of what I've researched up to this point. OK. I got distracted and I forgot why I even brought that up. But going back to the abundance thing. OK. You need to get into the mindset. We all need to get into the mindset that we will have abundance. We already have abundance. OK. And we have to claim that abundance so that it can manifest into our current reality by way of our trust. But we need to be prepared. So command that it come to you. Command that the resources come to you to help you prepare to be the best steward that you can be. Do you notice how I chose those words carefully? Okay. You're not asking, you're commanding. that these things come to you so that you're prepared to be the very best steward over what has been entrusted to you. And the future of civilization is going to depend on what we are doing over these next couple years, okay? In terms of restoring the planet, uplifting mankind, that is the overall theme for the uplifting of mankind. That means to uplift them, not just physically, not just mentally, but spiritually, emotionally. How are you going to do that? Well, you got to create a superb environment, okay? Because I want you to think about why that's so necessary. The environment definitely affects us more so than non-melanated people, all right? Why? Because you, through your melanin, absorb the energy of everything around you. That was clearly illustrated in the movie Lucy, okay? When she finally got access to her higher planes of existence and thought and was vibrating at that higher level, what did she see all around her? That she was connected to everything and everyone. And she always was. That's the same for us. We feel it and we sense things through melanin because melanin has its own brain at the cellular level. Okay? That's how powerful we are, right? You want to learn a little bit more about that and your connection to the all, your connection to the source, what they call dark matter energy, which is prevalent throughout the entire universe. In fact, it's suggested that 90+% of everything that's out there in the universe is dark matter energy, source energy. What does that tell you? All right. And all that dark matter energy is melanin, baby. That's where you come from. The darkness, the neb. Okay. I forgot what they call it. I'll give you a book, though, a suggestion. There's a book I think it's posted on even Scribd. And I read this and it was a game changer, a life changer for my mental evolution, my mental revolution, my mental involvement. The book was called What is Quantum Physics? And Quantum is spelled Q-A-T-O-M. It's not quantum. It's Quantum, Q-A-T-O-M. Just type that in your browser. And it's about a maybe 200-page document or ebook or something. It's a heavy read. Not everybody's going to comprehend it. I read it 4 times and I was blown away. And I changed my life with my understanding of my connection to the universe with it that has always been there. And I've sensed that since I was a young lad. But for once, I finally had the scientific evidence. This is more science that made enough sense to me that I was able to make that mental leap from belief of things to knowing that I was part of all and all was part of me. Okay. And that I was in the love of all. Okay. I understand that more than I ever understood before, especially while I was lost in religious dogma of Christendom. Okay. They don't teach us those higher, true spiritual things. They taught you dogma. Nope. There's a man up there that's, going to come back with a vengeance and kill everybody that don't listen. And then, torture you in everlasting destruction for you living 1 second in this plane of existence. And you didn't make a choice in 1 second. In the scheme of time, you live on this planet, this plane of existence for about 1 to 2 seconds. And this omnipotent, omnipresent creator God is supposedly going to judge you for that instant of time that you lived here because you didn't make a decision to obey, serve him as your master. I did believe that because I knew nothing else. When you know better, you do better. I'm going to leave it at that. All right. So anyway, I'm going to stop right here. Tomorrow, what I'm going to go do, I'm going to pick up where I left off here on the vision of preparing yourself, administering perhaps your new vast kingdom, your new vast estate, what that potentially may look like. Okay, I'm going to give you some examples of some things that I've thought of and had some intimate discussions with some of my colleagues and even people that I just share a lot of and network with, share a lot of esoteric information with. I have my own private network that I work with, in addition to everything else that I do. Okay. But I will say this in terms of the future. One of the projects that I am contracted with, a private trust, and we're about to implement this thing in the next, I'm going to say 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to get started with this. But there's an educational curriculum that we're going to be putting on and putting out. But first, we're going to develop it. And I'm going to be basically heading that department as a director or whatever. I don't know what the position, name and title is going to go with that. But the whole point is to help our people to go from 0 to 100. Okay, in the shortest period of time, but yet given the maximum effect, efficiency of operations, efficiency of learning, to shrink that curve, that learning curve, into as a small of a collapsed time period as possible, but yet get the maximum effect. Because we're going to have masses of people awakening, and they're going to be like this, sleepy, getting the, whatever it is that's called in your eyes. They've been, still trying to wake up. All right. And like, what's going on, man? What is all this? What's been happening? What are you talking about? What do you mean they lied to me about this? What do you mean, I was never a citizen? What do you mean I was never this? Or what do you mean they lied about this? Yeah, their whole world is going to be changed. Just remember Neo in the Matrix movie. He gets out and finally opens his eyes for the first time. And what does he complain about? Damn, my eyes are hurting. Why are my eyes hurting so much, Morpheus? And Morpheus, so calmly, I love that the next line when Morpheus says, your eyes are hurting because you've never used them. And so the eyes of understanding, the eyes of wisdom, that third eye of knowledge and all that stuff, our people have never really used before because they were asleep. All right. And so when they wake up, they're going to need to be taught a lot of things. They're going to need to be introduced, okay, to a lot of memories that's stored in them genetically, because the light code messages coming from the energies that have been poured out onto this planet, to this plane of existence, are reverberating through them and waking them up, whether they want to be woke up or not. They're sensing what's going on. So when they come out, they don't come out, well, I know everything. Okay. No, they're going to come out when they hear the truth for the first time. It's going to resonate with their spirit from within, and it's going to confirm what they suspected within. That's the light code activation in higher frequency and the higher self speaking through them. Okay. Because they went inside and something on the outside basically connected to what was inside of them. That genetic memory. That Akashic record, we call it. All right. So the teaching program that, I keep going back to that word for lack of a better term, but the educational program that we're going to institute is not just going to be for those who are asleep. It's also going to be to help edify, to clarify some points, to give people a proper reference, to show them where to go research, what to go research. And that's going to help them to focus their attention and not just be all over the place. Because I'm going to just tell you honestly, when I start absorbing all of this information, 4.5 years ago, I went apeshit nuts. Okay. Because I wanted to study everything all at once, because that's how my mind works. Okay. Most people are content to focus on one thing at a time. Nope. Phoenix does not work like that. I studied multiple disciplines at one time because that's how my Virgo mind works. Okay. And that's how I get the most out of my mind. I have to overwhelm it so that it must respond to the voluminous amounts of information that I'm pouring in. Right. And then it digests it. It creates the new grooves, the new memory modules inside, engrams. Okay. If you want to call them that. The new memory pathways are formed. All right. And it happens at a faster pace because I don't stop. When I'm learning in that learning, I don't stop. All right. And that's why when you have a conversation with me, you can bring up certain things and I may not have looked at it for quite some time, but you and I will have a very interesting discussion on it. Okay. If it's something that I did some research on, a lot of research on. All right. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that's how my mind works. So that's a tool, a valuable asset that's at your disposal that I'm sharing with you even now. Okay. Which is, again, goes back to why, I shared the birth certificate versus nationality, because nationality is still the issue of the day. That's your opening portal to reclaiming your vast estate. That's your opening portal to get you back in honor, to restore your honor, to begin lifting you up, edifying you, okay, to prepare you for your marvelous, exciting future, okay? That is your opening. So why would you want to do anything else? Don't try to follow those other groups out there that are not talking about nationality as it relates to the people who are heirs of the land. If that's not their discussion, perhaps you should have minimum, for the time being, association with them, because you become the sum of those who you associate the most with. I'm just saying. All right. One more reminder. melaninaudio@gmail.com. Please drop in a $20 to $50 donation. That is to help me to manifest the $1,000 that I'm trying to raise right now, between now and the next 2 days, which is, Tuesday, Wednesday. So really, effectively, I need to do that by tomorrow. Okay. And I want to be done as early as possible tomorrow. So by midnight tomorrow, I'm done, and I can move on and focus on other things, like how I'm going to help release my son next Tuesday on the 29th, and be there in person to welcome him out of the incarceration camp where they kidnapped him for the last 6 months in September. Okay. Because he had a fight with his European wife. Okay. Who basically ran him over. That's another set. You don't need to know all that. All right. So I want to get him out of their clutches. I want to help remove him. And this is the first start, because I got to secure myself first. So you can't go and save somebody else if you're not saved, all right, from whatever calamity is awaiting you. So I need to secure my own person first, get my own affairs in order. And that's what all of you are helping to do. And I'm giving you a reason to do it, because I'm sharing from my heart, okay, and from my spirit, that which I've accumulated over the last, 4.5 years. Okay. So melaninaudio@gmail.com. I thank you in advance. All right. So I'm going to sign off right now. Again, tomorrow, look for me out on Facebook. Hopefully I'll have these internet issues resolved. I'm going to post this video up as quickly as possible once it's done recording. And hopefully you'll enjoy that tonight and throughout tomorrow. All right. Well, thank you again. Peace, Hotep. And I will catch up with all of you soon. Peace and love.